You wake up on a Saturday in June 2026, and the game you want to watch kicks off at noon your time. Cold beer sweating on the counter. The broadcast cuts to a wide shot of the stadium, and the grass is so green it looks fake, and the players are sprinting in the sun like the heat isn't a problem. It looks normal. It looks like every World Cup you've ever seen. It is not normal. Almost nothing about this one is. Start with the size, because the size is the thing nobody quite believes until they try to keep up with it. Every World Cup you grew up with had 32 teams. 32. You could hold the whole thing in your head, draw the bracket on a napkin. This one has 48. The math gets ugly fast. 104 matches instead of 64. 12 groups of 4 instead of 8. The tournament that kicked off on June 11th won't crown a champion until July 19th, which means it runs for 39 days. The 2014 World Cup lasted 32. They added a full week of soccer and then some, and they did it on purpose. And FIFA voted it through back in 2017, knowing exactly what they were building. And they built it across an entire continent. 3 countries. Not 2, 3. The United States, Canada, and Mexico, all hosting at once. The first time in the tournament's history that 3 nations share it. 16 host cities scattered from Vancouver in the soggy Pacific Northwest down to Mexico City, sitting at 7,300 feet of thin mountain air. The travel numbers are genuinely deranged. A team based on the West Coast could, depending on how the draw fell, play a group game in Guadalajara, then fly to Philadelphia, then double back toward the Rockies. Players are crossing 4 time zones to do their jobs. Some of them will rack up more air miles in the group stage than you do in a year. Here's the part that does something strange to your sense of time. Estadio Azteca in Mexico City hosted the opening match. That same concrete bowl hosted the 1970 final, where Pelé's Brazil played what a lot of people still call the most beautiful soccer ever filmed. It hosted the 1986 final, where Maradona scored the Hand of God goal, and then 4 minutes later, the greatest goal anyone has ever seen in the same match against the same bewildered English defense. Now it's hosting a 3rd World Cup. No other stadium on earth has done that. Your grandfather could have watched Pelé lift a trophy in that building. Your father could have watched Maradona dribble through half of England in it, and you can watch 2026 in it. And it's the same place, the same air, the same steep stands that make the crowd noise fall on the pitch like weather. The altitude is not a fun fact. It's a physical fact that bends the games themselves. Researchers have chewed on this for years. There's a well-known British Journal of Sports Medicine analysis from around 2007, run out of a FIFA medical study, that looked at thousands of international matches and found home teams at high altitude win meaningfully more often, and visiting teams from sea level get hammered. The ball flies differently up there. Less air means less drag. So a long shot that should die in the keeper's hands keeps traveling, dips late, embarrasses people. Your lungs don't get the memo. A player who feels invincible at sea level in Dallas is sucking wind by the 70th minute in Mexico City, legs full of acid, and there's nothing his fitness can do about it in the days he has to adjust. Then there's the grass, which is a quiet little scandal most viewers will never notice. A lot of the American stadiums, MetLife in New Jersey, where the final is, AT&T Stadium near Dallas, others are built for American football and use artificial turf year-round. FIFA does not allow World Cup matches on plastic. So crews grew natural grass elsewhere, on pallets, in trays, and trucked it in, and laid a temporary living field over the fake one, fitting it together like the world's most expensive jigsaw. Turf scientists at the University of Tennessee and Michigan State spent literal years figuring out how to keep that grass alive inside a closed dome with no real sunlight, testing grow lights and root depths so the surface wouldn't cut up under the players' studs. The lawn you're watching might be younger than the tournament it's hosting. Think about what all of this creates. The old World Cup was a small, sharp thing, a knife. Win or fly home, basically, after 3 group games. This new one is softer at the edges on purpose. With 12 groups, even the teams that finish third can sneak into the knockout rounds, because FIFA needed a way to fit everyone in. So a country can lose, draw, lose, and still survive. That sounds generous. It also means that for the first time, a World Cup can have games that don't fully matter. Dead rubbers, where a team that's already through rests its stars, and the whole tournament carries a little more padding, a little less terror. They traded some of the cruelty for more soccer and more money. Roughly $5 billion in revenue, by FIFA's own projections. The cruelty was always part of the appeal. Now, there's a bit less of it, and the heat will provide its own cruelty anyway. June and July across the southern United States and northern Mexico is brutal. Afternoon kickoffs in Monterrey or Houston push toward the upper 90s Fahrenheit, with humidity that sits on your skin like a wet towel. FIFA had to schedule cooling breaks, those weird pauses around the half-hour mark where everyone jogs to the touchline and pours water over their heads. The 1994 World Cup, also in the US, ran games at noon in similar heat to suit European TV schedules, and players described it as running through soup. Nothing's been learned. The TV money still decides when the ball moves. So you sit there on your couch, beer going warm, and the broadcast makes it all look seamless. One continuous green field, stretching from Canada to central Mexico. It isn't. It's 3 nations, 2 miles of vertical difference between the highest and lowest pitches, grass grown in secret in other states, players flying further than migrating birds, and a stadium in Mexico City that has now quietly watched 3 generations of the human race lose their minds over the same game in the same spot. We used to be able to hold a World Cup in our heads. 1 host, 1 bracket, 32 names. That version is gone now, and it isn't coming back. The 48-team model is the future. Something got bigger. Whether something also got smaller, whether a tournament you can no longer quite fit in your mind is still the same thing your father loved, is the part nobody will agree on. You'll find out where you stand sometime around the 35th day, when you realize you've lost track of who's even still in it.